Hi, this is Murray from Second Time Tech, and today we are going to be talking about power supplies and how to choose the power supply for the system that you want to build. The first thing that you need to look at is your CPU and how much power it'll require, your GPU and how much power it'll require, and how much stuff is on your motherboard, because it will have a little effect on how much power you're using. When it comes to the memory and your hard disk drives or SSDs, they really don't take that much power, so you don't really have to worry about how many of them you get. One of the best ways to see how much power is being drawn is by watching some videos on people doing benchmarks on systems, and that'll tell you a close proximity of what you would need for your computer build if your build is close to what they are showing. Lots of times they will show you what the power outage is on the system with different types of video cards on them. And if you can find something that is close to what you're getting, like in CPU and GPU, then you can look at that amount, and that's pretty close to what you're going to need. So what you should do is go to Gamers Nexus and to Hardware Unboxed and check out their videos on benchmarking and what systems they're using, and try to find something really close to what you're going to buy in parts. That'll tell you how much power is being consumed, because they usually put that on their videos, and then you would know how high a wattage power supply you need for your system. Now, most systems today need somewhere in the neighborhood of 450 to 500 watt power supplies. They're not going to draw that much. They're going to draw probably somewhere between 200 and 300 watts for the majority of them. And I am talking about gaming systems. So they are the most power hungry. So what you need to do is to start looking at power supplies that are going to be in the 450 to 500 watt range. I would suggest looking at the 80 plus bronze units, because they seem to give you the best bang for the buck. They're not as expensive as the higher end platinum and titanium units. Those units usually are up in the higher wattage, around 1,000 to 1,200 watts, somewhere in there, and even higher than that. You don't need anything like that for this, because there's a power curve on the power supply that gives you your best economy and efficiency. And you really want to be in that power curve. The power curve is usually between 30 and 70% of what the power supply is drawing. And your system, if you get a power supply like that, then you are going to have the most economical amount of power being drawn and being used by your power supply and your computer. Whenever you use a power supply, they don't give you like watt for watt that's going out of the wall to what your system is using. There is a loss, and that's what the 80 plus means. 80 plus bronze means that its efficiency is above 85%. So that means that you're going to lose up to 15% of what power that you're being drawn by your system is being used by your power supply and not by the system components inside. The higher end units, they go up to about 90-93%, and that's for the titanium ones. And if you're not in that 70 to 30% power curve, then you're not getting the best performance from your power supply. So you don't want to get a power supply that's way too big for what system that you're using. You need to get something that is within that 30 to 70%. That's why I say, like, most systems are around 250 watts average. So if you're looking at 250 watts, a 500 watt power supply, a 450 watt power supply, maybe even a 600 watt power supply, I wouldn't go any higher than that. I'd stick with 80 plus bronze because they are quite a bit less expensive and they have lower wattage. And the other thing that's nice about them is that they can work within that power curve that you need. Now, if you do decide that you want to get something that has a much higher amount of wattage coming out of your power supply for future use, try to think of how long it's going to be before you update it. Because if it's going to be like 4 or 5 years, then what I would do is I would get the power supply that you need for this system and then later upgrade your power supply so that you're not using way more power than what you need during those 4 years. Your system saving some wattage on that will save you money in the long run, and you can put that money to go towards your system upgrades. Now, I know I told you a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff to think about and probably don't understand a lot of it, but if you leave me some questions, I will try to answer them as best I can. I know I rambled a bit, but if you like the video, hit like, and if you would subscribe, that would be great. And I want you guys to have a wonderful day.